The last few weeks haven't been great. Bitcoin went down and the altcoins went down even further. The question is, how much longer could this potential start of a bear market last? Let's have a look at the Onchain metrics, the data most people are not considering. Now here's a Bitcoin chart that starts on the 20th of January from the peak in Bitcoin's price at 108k to today we went down by roughly 11%. Who moved the price during that time? It was mainly the short-term holders. Have a look at this. This is the realized loss by long-term holders and short-term holders. The long-term holders are in blue, the short-term holders are in red, and the long-term holders really aren't realizing losses that often, only after prolonged downtrend. So that was a move from 73k to 53k, but the long-term holders really haven't realized any losses since we reached 100k. Here are the realized losses by age bracket, and the people that held Bitcoin only between 1 week to 1 month, they tended to lock in most of the losses, $500 million in total. And so I always like to look at realized prices. I always like to look at the relative cost basis of the market. Where does the average market participant have their reference price? Because when we buy at a certain point, we always want to know where's the current price relative to ours, right? When we are 2, 3, 4, 5x in profit, we might take some of the profit. If we are in losses and we believe in the asset long term, we might just continue holding. Now here's the reference price of short-term holders over time. So that's the line in blue. And then we've got a higher and a lower band, which gives us some kind of a reference at what point the short-term holders might buy in more or might consider selling some. Now, currently, we aren't necessarily very depressed nor very high in the price for the short-term holders. So the market seems to be somewhat in balance. And this is also true when we look at the reference price based on realized price volume. This chart goes from 0 all the way to the highest price bracket in Bitcoin. And a lot of holders have their reference price at around 60k, but also at around 95, 98k. So the way I interpret this is that once we reach the 75 to 85k range, we're probably not going to have too much sell pressure, because all the people that have this reference price over here that will then be in losses are likely not going to sell at those price points. Again, if you believe in Bitcoin long term, you're unlikely going to sell just because you're temporarily in the negatives. Now, this is different for Bitcoin compared to altcoins, right? With altcoins, we never know if the price recovers. With altcoins, there is a rotation of attention. Sometimes altcoin A is very hyped, then altcoin B. So with altcoins, it makes sense to cut losses, to have stop losses. With Bitcoin, that's not necessarily the case. Bitcoin is the hardest of the money. We can simply hold this over the long term. And because of that, I see it always as a positive to reach price levels like this. Now here's the price level that I find most important. And that's this line over here, this line in turquoise, which currently is at $90,900 roughly. This is the 120-day simple moving average. So I want to be in the market whenever the price is above that moving average. I want to be out of the market whenever it's below. And the reason for that is a backtest. So I've backtested various moving averages all the way from the 2-day to the 200-day. And the 120-day simple moving average works the best for timing medium-term bull and bear markets. And yes, it's not a perfect indicator because sometimes we just wiggle around the moving average, but it does work pretty well over time. So the backtest starts in August of 2017, and I've backtested everything from the 2-day to the 200-day, and this is the overview of that backtest. Buying and holding during the time period would have given us 28% per annum, so that's that line here in black. And the line in turquoise shows us the annualized returns based on different moving average durations. So this goes all the way to 200. And this shows us that the 120-day simple moving average historically worked the best. A lot of moving averages work better than buying and holding. This is simply just the best one. So if you're currently using, say, the 40-day or the 100-day or the 150-day, you should still be doing better than just buying and holding, even after trading fees. The only moving averages to avoid are the very short-term ones, right, below 30 days. And that's because of those trading fees. In this backtest, I've included 0.2% trading fees with every buy and sell. And so again, 91K roughly is the breaking point right now. And this breaking point is, of course, increasing over time. But that doesn't necessarily explain this here, right? There is some correlation between Bitcoin and the altcoins, but why are the altcoins struggling that much? I believe the reason for this abysmal performance today and even this month, the main reason is this here. This is the Ethereum dominance. It tends to go down since June of 2023. So Ethereum becomes less and less important of a part of all of crypto. Its dominance fell by 51%. And a lot of altcoin valuations, especially the very big ones, the early ones, they are directly coupled with the Ethereum price. So the liquidity pools are denominated in Ethereum. When Ethereum is going down by 10%, and the altcoins go down automatically by 10% as well. Another problem is Solana. So this is Solana's dominance, and Solana has a very hard time climbing above 4% in dominance. So we did have a 2.9% dominance in November of 2021. Then came the FTX collapse, then the revival through the meme coin trading and through pump.fun. But since the end of 2013, so a bit over a year, Solana wasn't really able to outperform the rest of crypto despite all of the adoption. And of course, when we take on more risk, right, by buying Solana over Bitcoin, we should expect more return. But this is not what happened in the last year. And so let's say this trend continues. Let's say Solana cannot outperform the rest of crypto. Then it will also be hard for all of the altcoins that are denominated in SOL, right, that are directly traded on Solana. The main blockchain tokens, Ethereum and Solana, in the end dictate where the altcoins in those ecosystems go. And so how much longer could this crisis last? Have a look at the Bitcoin dominance. In the early days, there weren't too many altcoins, right? There was Dogecoin, there was Bitcoin Cash, there were some abstruse coins that everybody has forgotten today. Then came Ethereum, which took a huge part of all of crypto. And then we see now how the Bitcoin dominance is oscillating between 37 and 73%. Whenever we are high on the Bitcoin dominance, we tend to see the altcoins outperform, right? This is when Bitcoin dominance is coming down. Whenever we are climbing up, right, this is when the altcoins underperform, as we have seen just in the last few weeks. And so in the very worst case, we have to wait quite a bit until it is worth again to buy the alts. How long will it take? Who knows? Maybe we reach this early, maybe we reach this rather late. But there is a real case to be made that we have to wait this entire year, 2025, until the altcoins really become attractive as a whole again. Yes, individual altcoins might outperform here and then, and if we catch those trends early, of course, we can still make money. But if we have a broadly diversified portfolio of altcoins, right, 10, 20, 30 altcoins, then we are approaching the altcoin dominance with the portfolio. And then we tend to underperform Bitcoin if the current trend just prevails. And Bitcoin clearly is not outperforming because it has all that adoption, because it gets used that much. The number of active addresses did actually not grow in the last 7 years. It went just sideways. But the price, of course, did a 5x during that time. The reason why Bitcoin is going up while its on-chain usage is not going up is that Bitcoin is now a real long-term investment for many people. It's not just for short-term speculation. This is the fraction of Bitcoin that is held by long-term holders. And it tends to trend up very nicely, and it sometimes sees a retracement when we are in massive bull runs. Only then the long-term holders sell, but they are buying back in whenever the price deflates again. Currently, the long-term holders tend to rather sell, so they are taking profit. There's also an inverse of this. This is the short-term holders, and again, we do not necessarily want to buy when the number of short-term holders, or let's say the Bitcoin that's held by the short-term holders, is at a peak. Now, where do we exactly peak? Nobody knows. We are still lower now compared to where we had been when Bitcoin was at 60K. But yeah, subsequently, we had our drop of 75%. It is important to continue watching metrics like this, which, by the way, I discuss very often on this channel. So if you're new here, feel free to subscribe, of course. If you want to get access to this particular chart, you simply go to bitcoinmagazinepro.com. This is a completely free chart. You simply click on charts and then search for short-term holder supply. I share my view on crypto regularly in the premium membership of this channel. This is also where I share my individual trades. So feel free to check it out. It's thebitcoinstrade.com. There's also an introductory video explaining everything on the website. So it's 7 minutes in length. The membership is currently $125 per month. There's also a 1-week money back guarantee. So in case you don't like premium, just message me within the first week and I refund you 100%. There's really zero risk for you. If you want to support this channel, feel free to give this a like. It helps the channel grow. See you in the next video or see you in premium. Cheers.